What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our Big Ten channel. I'm going to give you my early thoughts on the Maryland Terrapins and if this team will be better or worse in 2024. Coming off a pretty good year, 8-5, finished 4th in the Big Ten East, but no shame in that when you've got Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State ahead of you. Again, this was a pretty good team, won their bowl game, and looking to the future, I don't know if I'd say it's super bright, but I think they can keep this thing going. I think they can have a pretty good year next year. We'll start with the offensive side of the ball for them, and of course, losing Taulia Tagovailoa is a big loss, but I thought it was really interesting. This stood out to me before their bowl game. Mike Locksley was talking about, it's basically a plug-and-play system. We just put you in the system takes care of you, and we're going to go out and let these guys, have the whole playbook, whatever. And you saw that on the field. They were very aggressive offensively. I don't know. Maybe it's Billy Edwards. Maybe it's the transfer MJ Morris from NC State. I don't know who the quarterback's going to wind up being, but you feel like they're going to have the confidence to put whoever in there and run their full offense. And they'll have Roman Hemby back, had running back, Colby McDonald back. So you got a couple of good running backs to hand the ball off to as well. And then you go to the wide receiver position. They're going to miss Deshaun Jones. That's a big loss. He was really good for them. But they have Caden Prather coming back, Ty Felton coming back. And by the way, I was doing the research on this team, and it was very hard to find information. So I'm just going based off of my eligibility list. If something's wrong here, you guys can correct me in the comments. But looks like those guys will be back. And they do lose Corey Dyches at tight end. He went in the transfer portal. Rico Walker as well. So they don't have much at tight end. Preston Howard will be back. Should be back. And then you go to the offensive line. They do lose some pretty good players there. They added some guys in the transfer portal, so I think they did a pretty good job plugging holes. I don't think the offensive line is going to be a major issue. Delmar Glaze is a huge loss, of course, but they should be fine on the offensive line. So you're talking about maybe a downgrade at quarterback. Still got weapons at running back and receiver. Offensive line should be pretty similar. I don't think this team really gets any worse. I don't think they get much better. I think offensively, they're going to be about the same. I think this will be a very similar team that we saw last year if they can get good quarterback play, if they can execute. I think MJ Morris is probably going to win the job, and I think he's a little bit underrated. I think he's going to do a nice job for them. So I think offensively, they will be about where they were last year. Now, let's talk about the defense. This is an area where I feel like they've gotten better the last few years on this side of the ball. You look at the defensive line, they bring everyone back. They don't really lose any players on the defensive line, so that is huge, getting everyone back on the defensive line. You go to the linebacker position, and they don't lose too much there. Hypolite will be back, so that'll be big. They do lose Jaquan Shepard. I'm not sure about Spraggins and Gote. I've got those guys as out of eligibility, but I saw some lists that still have them on the depth chart. So again, tight end or linebacker position's an area where I'm not for sure about some of these players. I know who went in the transfer portal. Barham went in the transfer portal. So I think linebacker is going to be in a pretty similar spot that they were last year. Then you go to the secondary. Jaquan Shepard should be gone there at cornerback. And they're going to miss Bo Braid at safety, who's a really good player. And Tariq Steele also going to be gone at safety. But they bring pretty much everyone back. So I think this is going to be a similar defense. I think I wouldn't say they're going to be much better or much worse. I think we're going to see a very similar defense, maybe a little bit better. Problem for Maryland is the new Big Ten. It's going to be tough. I haven't looked at their schedule yet, so I'm not sure how tough it actually is. But you're going to have to deal with new teams in this conference with Washington and Oregon and USC and UCLA. So that may make for a tougher schedule. And kind of where does that put them in the pecking order of the Big Ten? It maybe lowers them a little bit. Maybe gives them an additional loss. But I think overall this team should be about the same as they were last year. A very solid team. Probably not a top 25 team, but maybe not too far off from that. And that's, again, where I see this team in 2024. So offense about the same, defense about the same. We're going overall about the same for Maryland. What are your thoughts on this team? Give me your early thoughts on the Terrapins down in the comments below.